Good morning, and thank you very much for joining us. I am Yori Folari. So here we are. As our people say, no do, no do. We've crept. A year has gone in the first year of the president's second term in office, and so he has 3 more years to go. And well, all the president's men, I'm talking about his communication people, they've been out in the media, and by and large, the way they see it is that this administration came in on a promise, and that by and large, a lot of those promises, where they haven't been fulfilled, are very much deep works in progress. Well, we have this morning Mukhtar Mohammed. He's a stockbroker and he's a financial analyst. In fact, everything is about money. So also MJ, Majid Jamil, he's also a financial analyst. He's executive editor, Upshoot Media. Good morning, gentlemen, and thank you very much for joining us. Good morning, Majid.
Morning, Yori.
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you very much. And good morning, Mukhtar.
Good morning, Uncle Yori.
Good morning, sir. Thank you very much for joining with us. Let me start with you, if I may, Majid. Here we are. The presidency, you know, we've always heard it. They've been working night and day over the past 6 years to deliver on their mandate and their promises. And as I was saying in the beginning, all the president's spokespeople, they have been, you know, putting it out there that by and large, I'm sure if they were to score it, they'd score themselves a pass mark. So actually the thing to do is that since every Nigerian, quite frankly, is an expert, having lived through it all, maybe one can begin to ask the question, how better off are we now than 5 years ago? Are we making progress, do you think, Majid? Or is it very much a work in progress on all fronts? Or are there any areas that you think we can actually boldly put a tick mark beside it?
Yeah, thank you, Yori. It's been a mixed pot, so to say. The administration came in for the 2015. We're 5 years down the line, and I read what the special advisor on media to the president, Femi Adesina, put up there as some of the achievements of the administration. But by and large, I think it depends on which side of the divide you are. The administration came on a tripod. I mean, it based its 3-point agenda on a tripod, which is security and also an improvement in the economy, as well as a fight against corruption. And if you look at these three, I think the one that strikes me most is that of security. In terms of security, yes, there's been some marked improvement, but it can actually get better in terms of, if you consider the fact that a lot of local governments in the northern parts of the country are under power when the administration came in. Today, I think the projects have been dealt with, although with some precautions here and there. And also in terms of fight against corruption, some will tell you that the fight against corruption is one-sided, but then progress is being made along that line. But in terms of the economy, if you look at the progress we are making on the rail projects, I think I will score the administration very high on that, especially given the fact that we have the administration was able to complete the project started by the Jonathan administration in terms of railway from Abuja to Kaduna, which is up and running now very fast, and also that of Ibadan to Abeokuta has been test run. That of Lagos to Abeokuta is on the way. Basically, creating more jobs for the youth, for the unemployed, which is one of the things.
Sure. Okay.
We have not really seen much in that direction, except perhaps for the end power, which I think it has employed that provided some money some stipends for some unemployed youths. But I think as a country we can do better.
Okay.
We need to empower more of the cottage industries. By providing them the basic infrastructure, which is power now. In 5 years, we have only been able to sign an agreement with Siemens. But how long that will materialize, we don't know yet. And we have done 5 out of the 8 years.
I don't know what's going on over there, Majid, but if there's a fan, if there's a fan in the room, could you kindly consider switching it off, please? Because we're getting a blowing sound over your microphone. And that's apart from all the notifications that are coming in. I guess you can't do anything about that. But there is a blowing sound across your mic, which might easily be either an air conditioner or a fan blowing close to where the your device is. Mukhtar, coming over to you, and if I were to zoom in a bit onto the economy, here we are 5 years later. Admittedly, the economy of all countries, ours is not excluded, the economy of all countries have been served a curved ball of sorts in recent times. But how would you say the economy has fared, you know, bearing in mind the fact that all of us, all countries around the world have an handicap? So to that extent, it's like a leveler.
Well, Uncle Yorin, you have to ask, when did the leveler came in? The leveler just came in not long ago. So we can't be using that as an excuse. What have we done before the leveler came in? That's what we should be looking at now. The leveler just came in this year, and that is in front of COVID-19. But outside of that, we've been operating our economy the way we think was best for us until this leveler came in. And this leveler may just be a blessing in disguise for us. But looking at the economy in 5 years, I think pretty much they've done what they could do, knowing what the kind of economic challenges they met when they came in. And they came in with a lot of promises. And unfortunately, they've not been able to fulfill some of their promises. Exchange rate volatility, you look at that when they came in 5 years ago, the exchange rate for the naira to the dollar was about 150, 170. They moved, they devalued the currency to 250. Today we are doing 380. And that, you know, then when you look at job creation, you realize that we have more unemployed Nigerians than we've ever had before. So the reserve, when they came in, the reserve was low, about 25 billion. So you can give it to them despite all the challenges. They've been able to raise the reserve presently to 35 billion. More on that, most of that, I don't see. They keep telling us they are trying to build an enabling environment. They are trying to put a lot of infrastructure. Remember the economic recovery growth plan that they came in with. Now they are taking it back again to the laboratory to redo it. So it has come with a lot of inconsistency when it comes to this administration in terms of economy's decisions. It has not been that fantastic for Nigeria economically.
What you call inconsistencies, might there be an element of the dynamic nature of these things and how they actually have to be flexible and move, you know, with the times and move according to the parameters of the time? I mean, might that also play into it?
Well, when you're looking at inconsistency, you're looking at inconsistency in terms of policy somersault. That's what I'm looking at. We're looking at a regime that came in and told us that we are going to deregulate, we are going to do that, but up to now they didn't do that until recently, where like I said, the COVID-19 have made it a leveler. We are looking at deregulation of that sector. We are looking at a government that came in that said they are going to provide jobs for about, in their first term of coming to, they are going to provide about 750,000 jobs for Nigeria. And that has not come in. Well, I don't want to go to the one that they said exchange rate will be the $1 to the dollar, Nigerian naira to the dollar. That is neither here nor there. So you look at when they came in terms of inconsistency. Well, the first inconsistency they came in with was when they said the currency should be devalued. At that time, devaluation would have cost us to move our currency to like 250. But the president stubbornly refused and thinks that the naira should not be devalued. And at the time, he was ready for the naira to devalue. We are now looking at 360. So those are part of what I call inconsistency in terms of policy direction that has played in this administration.
Okay. Majid, how would you react to that?
Yes, I'm on the same page with Mukhtar, and it's unfortunate that the economy is where we are today, and it's been further compounded by the impact of COVID-19. Also compounded further by the brickbat between Saudi Arabia and Russia on one end, and also China and the US on the other hand, in terms of amenities, which is
and go and come back.
Mukhtar, you're actually live, and everything you say, even if you're not on air, you're just saying to us at home. You're actually live. So please continue, Mukhtar. Majid.
So like I said, some of these things are not really good for our economy. But by and large, if you look at agriculture, for example, I think we've been able to make some progress in terms of deepening our resources locally in agricultural production, although we could have done better. The Anchor Borrower Scheme, I keep referring to it, by the central bank, which empowers farmers to grow rice locally, has helped quite a lot in getting Nigeria to reduce the almost $22 billion spent on importation of rice every year. If you go to most stores now, you find the homegrown rice there. Ebonyi rice, rice from Ekiti State, rice from the northern parts of the country. We need to sustain that. And also, two main things that we spend money on: importation of finished petroleum products. I want to say that Nigeria, as a government, ought to have encouraged Dangote more to speed up the process of completion of its refinery, because that alone will reduce our dependence on a dollar. The pressure on the naira-dollar exchange rate will go down by at least 50% by the time Dangote refinery comes on stream.
Okay, could I interrupt you briefly, please? I beg your pardon for doing so. I've got to go off on a break now, but please stay with us, gentlemen, Mukhtar Mohammed and Majid Jamil. Stay with us, please. We'll be right back, and we'll include your calls as well. Okay, welcome back. We have Mukhtar Mohammed and Majid Jamil, both of them on Skype. We might even be able to, we're working on it. We also will be adding our friend Libros Oshoma, lawyer and public affairs analyst. We'll see how all of that goes. But coming back to you, Majid, the first time, when you came on, you actually ended up, because you were going to speak about I think the president's, directing the fast tracking of the Nigeria-Germany Siemens deal, because the whole effect of that is to possibly take this whole power problem that we have in Nigeria and sort it out once and for all. Now, if that, among other things, as a principal one, is the legacy that President Muhammadu Buhari will be leaving, that by the time he was through, we now have light 24/7, very much like Ghana and some other countries that we usually say that about in envious terms. So would you like to go back to that? Because I had to go away from you just when you put, as it were, your mouth on that.
Yes, like I said, the Siemens power deal, the deal with Siemens of Germany, recall that the former chief of staff, the late chief of staff, Abakari, was actually in Germany to sign some documents on the power deal. Shortly before he died, and it's something that we need, as a matter of urgency, to boost our power sector reforms, because today in Nigeria we are hovering between 3,000 and 5,000 megawatts of power, which is a far cry from about 40,000 megawatts that we require. So it's unfortunate that we can't afford to toy with power in Nigeria. If we solve the problem of power generation and distribution, we have solved half of our problem. Extension that will reduce the cost of the product. Imagine how many companies run on diesel or other alternatives, and instead of being on the national grid. So, three key things: power, then power generation, agriculture, and also, like I said earlier, petroleum products.
Okay.
Those three key things, if we get it, will reduce a lot of pressure on the naira-dollar exchange rate.
Indeed. Okay. Thank you, Majid. I'll be coming back to you. We've also been joined on Skype by Libros Oshoma, our friend Libros Oshoma. He's a legal practitioner. Good morning, Libros, and thank you for making time for us this morning.
Yeah, good morning, Monku Yori.
Good morning, sir. Thank you very much for coming on.
I'm trying to switch on my video.
Okay, thank you for doing. Okay, you're about to do that. Well, in the meantime, we're still talking, but yeah, go ahead and switch on the video so that we can see you. But you can hear me as I'm speaking.
Yes, I can hear you clearly.
Yeah. So I imagine I wanted to ask you about advances in the judiciary, because everything, you know, at the end of the day, talk about justice and fair play, as we're talking about the economy. And you know, as you know, there are many aspects to this. Well, between 5 years ago and now, in your field, and as a commentator, I think it's only fair to say that you comment on quite a number of things, not just the legal field. But give me your impressions on how far we've come, perhaps from the point of view of the legislature and even the judiciary.
If you look at the expectation, I would start the discussions from the point of view of the expectations from where we are coming from and where we are now. You would agree with me that not much has been achieved in terms of expectations from Nigerians, both in the judiciary and the legislature.
And why are you saying, Libros, why are you saying I will agree with you? I mean, if that is what you want to say, by all means.
Because...
you think it's a self-evident truth?
Yes, that's true.
That's what you think?
Like Obayagbo would say, it is visible to the blind and audible to the deaf.
Oh dear.
That we keep take the judiciary, for example.
Okay.
We take 5 steps forward and take 20 steps backward.
For example.
And so you now begin.
For example.
Yes.
In what way? For example.
Yes. Look at the Supreme Court interpretation recently in Ojuzo Kalu's case. The Supreme Court is supposed to do justice to matters and not give an interpretation that the ordinary man on the street begins to wonder if truly it is indeed the Supreme Court. Take the quagmire created by the Supreme Court in the case of in Bayelsa and Imo State, for example. Take the cases of Rivers and Zamfara, also, for example, and even senior lawyers also helped in creating the confusion that ensued subsequently, where even senior lawyers had to take applications to Supreme Court seeking for reviews, and all of that. Where for once you hear people now asking the Supreme Court to overrule itself.
Okay, you would lay that kind of a thing, I beg your pardon, you would lay that kind of a thing also at the door of this administration?
No, you asked me a question. You said I should assess the judiciary.
Okay.
You didn't you didn't pigeonhole it to this administration.
Okay. Well, because the premise of the program is really, as you know, this is 5 years of Buhari, and I wanted to see how far we've come.
And then, quickly, permit me, you also talked about the legislature. I had, at some point, asked a question. If our assembly is indeed a national assembly or assemblies of non-nationals, because of the kind of motions and bills and the kind of issues that emanate from our National Assembly. And so if you assess the National Assembly vis-a-vis their performance in the last 5 years, we complained in the between 2014 to 2015 that it was because Bukola Saraki hijacked the National Assembly, and so the president couldn't really work with them. But now that you have a speaker and a president, Senate president that were almost, handpicked by the party, what do we have? It's almost as if the National Assembly has been reduced to a department in the arm of the executive. It's almost a rubber stamp in the hand of the executive now. Well, that is not the kind of a National Assembly you would expect.
Okay. Let me get reaction to
20 years.
Let me get Libros. Let me get reaction to that viewpoint of yours. As I said, still have Mukhtar Mohammed and Majid Jamiu. Majid, if I were to come to you,
Majid.
I beg your pardon, Majid Jamiu.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm with you.
Okay. What would you say to Libros's charge?
Well, Libros is my friend. He has said it all. And I can't agree less with him. We expected better from the judiciary. We are not, I can't say, especially the case of Ojikalu comes to full gear here, and the intervention of the Supreme Courts. I'm happy it's coming from a learned fellow like Libros. It's a lot of people are taken aback by that kind of a judgment, and a lot of things has happened in the judiciary, which tends to score this ambition low in terms of its handling of a judiciary, though it's supposed to be another arm of government.
Exactly.
Everything works
together. Because you can't expect the executive to be interfering in other business, no matter the way people will look at it one kind.
Yes, but if you say you are fighting corruption, part of you need the judiciary to fight corruption. So part of between the judiciary and the executive arm of government, if fight this corruption, by and large, there needs to be some working together to ensure that some of the progresses that are being recorded by the executive in the fight against judiciary and against corruption are not being drawn back by some proclamations and rulings from the judicial arm of the.
Okay, you've sort of brought sorry. Let me go over to Mukhtar, because Mukhtar, if you're following us, sort of where Jamiu landed there, he brought on areas, so to speak, of corruption, and indeed the avowed fight to wage battle against corruption. I think we've talked about security and corruption being two ills that have plagued us. Now, coming to the corruption part of it, again, let me ask, what do you think, Mukhtar, the campaign, shall we put it that way, that we've been waging against corruption, how impressed have you been?
Uncle Yori, you don't have to be impressed about the fight against corruption. You just want a fight, and a fight has been taking place. It doesn't matter whether you move from PDP to APC or from APC to PDP. All we want is a fight. And the current president will not finish all the fights about corruption. we expect other administration will take it off from there. So if you are lucky now that you are on the winning side, fine for you. Maybe it's very someday you'll be on the losing side, and they will come for you. So
you don't
for
seem
me,
very impressed. In fact, I think you sort of answered it a bit for me. You don't seem very, very impressed, because I was thinking in terms of progress. That have we made progress? Have we done things in the battle against corruption that perhaps
Uncle Yorin, we have not done anything differently in the battle against corruption. You see, corruption like my big bros, I call him big bros. The bros will say is about rule of law, and the first person that is supposed to be the symbol of our fight against corruption happens to be the EFCC chairman. And if the EFCC chairman up to today is still acting on acting capacity, then where do we get a rule of law? Because the Senate himself, the first Senate, they rejected him, and they now made him an active capacity. So when you look at that, then we are not started fighting fighting corruption, because corruption has to do with rule of law. And like they said, there have been judgments here and there, and they've been talked here and there, and we realize that most of the corruption battle are fought in the pages of newspaper, and by the time they go to the law court, they don't even have substance to back up what they have been fighting in the newspaper. So what we are saying is that they are using a way of stigmatizing some people against Nigerians and without evidence. And even when they are now freed by the court, then we now say, oh, the court is also corrupt, this and that. We need to go back also to this administration. Also, when they came, they said it was a sting operation whereby judges were also harassed, judges were also brought to court, and at the end of the day, nothing came out from it. None of those judges were found
I got
guilty.
to interrupt you there because I've got to go on a break.
That.
Forgive me. I got to interrupt you there because we're going off on a break. But all of you, please stay put, and we really appreciate you all. Libros Oshoma, Mukhtar Mohammed, and Majid Jamil. We'll take a break. We'll be right back. Okay, welcome back, and we have with us Libros Oshoma, Mukhtar Mohammed, and Majid Jamil, analysts and commentators, all of them. And now we also have you at home, because we've just opened up the phone lines. So by all means, feel free, please, to just call in so that you can come in on this matter. There's a sense in which I could say that, well, so far you guys have been pretty stern, and it is indeed your privilege and your prerogative, because you know, you've pointed out where you have had your disappointments and where you would have expected much better. We ended up on the whole issue of the fight against corruption, and Mukhtar was saying earlier that even the economy here has not been unduly impressed. Yes, the level of COVID-19 came lately, but even before then. And so, Majid, this is the mix. Are there areas where you have to hand it? You have to hand it. How about the deepening of democracy as a concept that we often hear of? Has anything happened to impress you in that area? Deepening of the rule of law, democracy. If Majid can hear me. No? Majid, did you? Oh dear, and we were coming along smooth sailing all this while. Did Mukhtar hear that question?
Yes, sorry? I did.
Okay, one moment, please, because Mr. George from Ikeja has just called in. So please hold on, guys. Good morning, Mr. George. Thank you for calling in.
Thank you, Uncle Yori. Good morning to everybody there.
Indeed. Thank you.
Uncle Yori, I used to wonder what people expect from the president in this kind of fight against corruption. Most of those who criticize him, they themselves do not fight corruption in their own way. The lawyers that are condemning him, that judges were arrested, they are fighting for their own cause. Are they saying that there are no corrupt judges? That the government, in an attempt to curb corruption in the judiciary, the judges should not be touched? That is what I hear from an average lawyer every day, that why do you have to touch one of our own? Yet the same people will come to the public to say that the fight against corruption is not working. I do not expect magic to happen about the fight against corruption. This is the first president that has ever come out in this country to say, I want to fight wrongdoing and stealing of public money in our country. Why can't we cooperate with him? I noticed, I've said it before, Uncle Yori, that even those who work with him, including the ministers, I cannot see them keying into that fight. I have not seen a minister, for example, that says corruption in my ministry must be reduced drastically and you see measures being taken. No, they don't even have it. They don't even talk about it. So it's a one-man fight. And if I should say maybe two-man fight, the president and the EFCC chair. And we all know the president.
Maybe you can throw in the vice president as well.
Yes, the vice president, the president, and the EFCC chairman. Let any other person in that administration prove to me that he has been fighting corruption, and I will show you that he has not. So the lawyers should know that we expect so much from them, but we are getting just too little.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, Mr. George.
Sorry.
It's interesting.
Sorry, Uncle Yori. Uncle Yori, please permit me to respond to this question, please.
Okay, Libros.
Yeah. I am happy that Mr. George ended on that note, that even members of the president cabinet are not in sync with him in fighting corruption.
No, he didn't quite put it like that. He didn't say they weren't in sync, because that has a totally different meaning. When you say members of his team are not in sync with him, he did say that he couldn't see them being public with their stand against corruption.
So what it means is that they are not on the same stand with Mr. President. So what that means is Mr. President is not ready to fight corruption. If he's ready, he will select a team that will take a public stand with him in fighting corruption. So we shouldn't fantasize the fight against corruption. Mukhtar said something. The fight against corruption has to follow a procedure, a process. The rule of law also enhances the fight against corruption. A situation where you bypass the rule of law, what you are working to is a problem. That means you're truly not ready to fight. A situation where you arrest somebody, you know that there are procedures for taking statements and evidence, and then the first thing you do is to beat up the person before you take his statement. What you have given to that person is a leeway to escape when he gets to court.
Okay, you just Libros, I hear you, and to be clear, you just cited that as an example to illustrate what you were saying.
As an example.
You were not saying that that is normal practice in Nigeria, in the Nigerian public space. That's not what you're saying.
Most of the cases that are thrown out in court, the first thing, criminal matters, once you get to court, the defense lawyer will file a preliminary objection on the admissibility of the evidence that is being tendered.
All right.
Because the prosecutor created a leeway. Do you know that prosecution starts from investigation? When you investigate a case, you should have the mindset that, look, I am investigating to see the end. But when you investigate and create loopholes, you get to court at the end of the day.
Now, that's hardly something that you can lay at the doors of this administration personified by Muhammadu Buhari. But in the meantime, I've not ended the conversation on it, but I do have Kunle on the line, and I don't want to eat too much into Kunle's credit time. Good morning, Kunle in Kaduna.
Yeah, good morning, Uncle Yori.
Good morning, sir. Thank you for calling.
Yeah, you're welcome, sir. And my regards to Lord Barrister Liburos,
yes,
Majid, and the other guy.
And Mohammed.
Yeah, I think we are not being fair with Muhammadu Buhari government. And when we want to criticize or when we want to assess, we should always try as much as possible to break our assessment into units. If today you want to assess this government, then you should like executive, what have they done? Judiciary, what have they done? Then the National Assembly decision, what have they done? From my own point of view, I think in as much as we'll have given a kind of a credible mark to the executive, the National Assembly and the judiciary has been a clog in the wheel of Nigeria. And then looking at Buhari will have achieved a lot.
No. But when you just said that, sorry, Kunle, let me engage you a bit, just a bit. A cog in the wheel of progress of Nigeria, the National Assembly.
Yes. Let me start.
Just one example. Just one example.
The National Assembly led by Saraki. You know what happened.
Yeah, but that's yesterday.
Yeah.
That's yesterday.
Yeah, no, of course, but we are assessing 5 years, and you cannot take yesterday from today, and both yesterday and today give us what we get for tomorrow. You understand? Then now, if National Assembly have not in the last 4 years, or maybe 3.5 years or 4 years, have not been able to put something down that can help executive, so also the judiciary fighting the corruption, because as this government is coming in, the first thing we first of all see is that corruption fighting back to ensure that it didn't succeed, so that it won't come back for the second time. Coupled with the sickness, coupled with the recession, coupled with even the COVID-19, the crude oil per dollar. So we should not be quick to forget that we are in this nation when oil per barrel is $140. When immediately this government comes in, everything begins to reduce. So if I'm going to sum everything up with what Buhari has achieved, with what executive has achieved, I won't add the legislature or judiciary. With what executive has achieved,
Okay.
I think Buhari has scored to me 70%.
All right.
Apart from that of nepotism, because that one I can't. Buhari is nepotism when it comes to anyway. But in terms of infrastructure, he has as much as possible.
Okay, then. Thank you very much, Kunle. At the same time, President Buhari has scored 70%, but when it comes to the charge of nepotism, you want to just be excused from the scoring, so to put it. Gentlemen, it's interesting the kind of calls we're getting.
I don't think we are not being fair. For me, we've said it the way it is. It's not about not being fair about the administration. We are just trying to put it the way it is. We are public analysts. We are trying to be fair and be objective as we can.
Indeed.
And
you're very welcome to do so.
And you can't be telling us that Buhari administration has not, we are not saying Buhari administration have not done well, but based the question we are asking, and he summed it up. And look, if you look at Saraki is gone, like you answered him, we are now in a new era. What has changed in the National Assembly? Nothing has changed. When you look at the economy, you said he came in when oil price, when Buhari came into power the first time, oil price was $25 per barrel. And by the time his second term, oil price hit $60 per barrel before we came down to this. So what have we done? What have we done differently as a result?
Okay, Mukhtar, 1 second, please. Good morning. Mr. Joshua in Irewale, good morning, sir.
Okay, good morning.
Thank you for calling in.
Good morning to liberals and the other guests.
Yes.
I think we should just say, for me, 1 year of Buhari, the first 4 years was a waste, like the earlier caller said. I regard the first 4 years as a waste completely, because I knew Saraki wanted to be president, but I didn't know how bad the situation was then, because, everything played out well, and we have seen that the president lost 4 years. I want to congratulate the president for being alive. I want to congratulate him for making the statement that Nigeria can deal with corruption. We are talking about it. We are making efforts towards addressing that matter. I think if we all have the body language, I'm going to say the body language, because at our individual levels, my uncle Libros there knows, lawyers are frustrating everything anybody can do. Lawyers are the chief architects of the problems of frustrating fight against corruption. Lawyers will say yes here, they will tell the other person it is no. Yeah, no here, they will tell the other person it is yes. You can never place them. We have a big problem, but at least we have the body language of a president that we can clearly say is in favor of fighting corruption.
Indeed.
Maybe we should go with that body language and that attitude. Then we might, at the end of the day, come to the light that corruption will be a thing of the past in a Nigeria of the future. Not the present one. No. Uncle Yori, thank you. You are doing well too. At least I can see your face. You are not corrupt.
Thank you very much. Again, we go back to the body language thing. Now, gentlemen, I want to bring something up. Let me just stay a bit on Mr. Joshua's statement there about the body language. Now, going a bit beyond that, look at the directive of the president as he put it out on Twitter yesterday that this deal, this Siemens deal, it was going to be a Nigeria-Germany thing, and that one thing that I noticed in all of that was that they had written it in and locked it down that Siemens was going to be responsible for procuring everything that was needed onshore, and just for emphasis, the last two words were added: no middlemen. Now, that in our terms here, in our shores here, that's quite revolutionary. So look at all the humongous expenditure that's going to be going out, and there are no middlemen. The president did that intentionally. Might this be signaling that we just, and in fact, as you all yourself might have read the tweet, it was because the president put it that, one, it's about total value for money. Two, it's all about transparency.
But maybe we have been talking. Maybe I should allow Majid.
Yes. Okay. Majid, please pick up that particular strand.
Except he wants to yield the floor for me.
Majid, please pick up that strand about the president's insistence on transparency and value for money, by saying that there shall be no middlemen in this at all.
Yes, if we have more people like Buhari in I mean, and I mean, to dissuade the minds of some of the callers, I mean, who said we didn't see anything good in this. No, that's not true. I made allusions to the fact that I've recorded some progress in agriculture. I also mentioned I started up with this Siemens project. It's coming a bit too late. We have done 5 years, but it's never too late, like I said. But if we can fast track some of the processes, if you can break some of the bureaucratic bottlenecks, I want to see the president walking the talk. I need to Minister of Transportation, Rotimi Amechi, this morning on one of the programs, where he said the president actually called him and said he should move back to site on the railway project. So if the president can give that kind of commitment, that kind of charge to the Minister of Power on this Siemens project, I mean, let the presidency own it, so that, because like I said earlier, if we solve the problem of power, then
I understand that he's actually supervising it directly through the vice president, if that's not too much of a contradiction in terms. But, you know, that's as importantly as the president is taking this whole Nigeria, Germany, Siemens arrangement.
Yes,
yeah, quickly.
I expect that all the others in the chain would toe the line of the president by giving the kind of commitment which the president has put into this. I mean, for him to send the chief of staff, I mean, it's like him going there himself to sign the deal. So if those down the line can also take this up and see it as a serious project, and then we could be talking of an improved power generation and supply in the next 48 months or thereabouts.
Yeah. Oh, okay then. One moment, please. Let me take in someone from home. Charles in Idimo. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Uncle Yori.
Thank you very much for calling in.
We thank you for the good work you are doing, because at least bringing people around for us to review the present government is a very good approach. And we hope that they're also listening and it will be of help to them. Nobody can take away from the president in terms of his genuineness in trying to fight corruption. We will see it in his intentions. But we are saying it's not strong person that fights corruption. It's strong institutions. What institution has the president developed to help him in his fight against corruption? That is why the other young person said, the first caller, that's why it seems that the people in his group are not even, are not even in line with him. Look at even his party. What's the start of his party? We know the allegation that's going on here and there. The other day we were talking about Lagos State. Is it a party that is fighting corruption, having all those type of stories flying here and there, and there is no comment? There is nothing coming up. So what the president should concentrate now is to build strong institutions, so that people who are not online will be identified by the strong institutions and taken care of. Mm-hmm. And what EFCC is doing is post-mortem corruption fighting, because they are going to arrest people who are already corrupt. There are provisions like the Fiscal Responsibility Act that have been lying there idle since he came into power. What is it been to look at what the provisions are? So please, that's what we need to fight corruption. That will be successful. Thank you.
Thank you very much for calling in, Charles. Mukhtar,
please permit me to take it from there.
Libros.
Sorry, Uncle Yori. Yes, permit me to take it from there on this Siemens, to tie it up, this last caller's comment, to tie it up with the Siemens deal. Fantastic, but also let's not remove our mind from the fact that this is the same Siemens. When I mean the same Siemens, if you know. So, now, why did the president insist that he will supervise this by himself? There were allegations that why did the chief of staff go to sign the deal when you have the minister of power? All of those are questions hanging, will never get answers to. So what this means is that the president still does not trust some people in his team to handle this. And if that trust is breached, what are they still doing in that team? We also know the way government transactions are handled. As I speak to you, there is a big fight ongoing between the Minister of Agriculture and the PAMSEC. And all of that, billions have gone under.
Okay, one moment, please. So I got to interrupt you because we have you. Forgive me, we have you. Mazi Okorafo in Arochukwu, good morning, sir.
Good morning, Sayori.
Okay.
Honest, Sayori, 5 years is not a joke. And it's not a child play. At least within 5 years, many Nigerians have known that there is money in this country. You know, some people before don't know that there's money in this country because when you see all these EFCC and the ICBC, all these money that have been grabbing for Nigeria, that when one person will carry Nigerian money, you go and build school, go and build hospital, go and build everything, and still have excess. You don't even care. With the present government, at least we have known that there is money in this country. Economically, at least there is hope. And what we as you advise the government is that they propose the situation panel to all the federal universities, all the federal higher institutions. The government should make sure that before the end of this year, whether COVID-19 is existing or not existing, all those panels should go and visit our universities because our universities or higher institutions are in a state of shambles because at a stage, you ask yourself, educationally, we are not going anywhere. No, when you check that now, up to today, over 400 students make use of a classroom made for 50 people, which I was saying, even the hostel, the government, Jonathan administration gave the money to innovate and make sure the students, so some of those, they were not done. They just use money because you ask yourself, all this issue of acceptance fee, when you secure admission, what are they doing with the money? This is what the government, present government should make sure that they fight because educationally, Nigeria is shaking today as I'm talking to you. Thank you very much. Have a blessed day. Kudos to the government.
All right, then. Thank you very much. So there you have it, Mukhtar. There's a sense in which one person said he'll give them 70%, but he said when it comes to nepotism, excuse me from discovering. This the other gentleman, I said kudos to the government. Mukhtar, I think you were making the case that, you know.
No, I was the one that was making the case. I was the one that was concluding on the cement transaction.
No, okay. Yes, you were. But I think Mukhtar was making the case that, no, we're not being unduly harsh, that we're just calling it the way we see it. And that it doesn't mean that everything is bad about this administration. I think that was the case Mukhtar was making.
No, not everything is bad about this administration. Not everything is bad about this administration. I would say it, when you look at the cement,
Carry on, please. Carry on, please, Mukhtar.
But now, how do we say a cement deal that is going to go within? That means they choose who they want to work with, and at the end of the day, that means they can also bring foreign partners from. They can also bring foreign partners from their own country to come and do those deals for us. So how do you empower Nigerians when they have to go and bring foreign partners from their own country to come and do those deals for us? We are talking about building our economy. We are talking about helping our own economy. And here we are now seeing, whereby you are saying that those people, they now have control over our own economy, what we are about to do. I think that's what the last caller said, that I agree with him. We have only succeeded in building strong men. President Muhammadu Buhari is a strong man, but the institution that is going to leave behind are not going to be strong institutions.
Okay.
We need a strong
Adewale in the
institution
UK. Let me bring on Adewale in the UK. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
Thank you very much for calling in. Okay.
Yes, thank you very much, sir. Good morning.
Good morning.
Again, my name is Adewale.
Okay, you got in very late. You have about 30 seconds.
I think we need to appreciate what PND has done.
Okay.
We need to appreciate.
Carry on, please. Don't stop.
Yes, Buhari, we know he came to fight the crime in Nigeria, and we know what he meant. We know what he meant when he came to the government. We need to give him all appreciation of what Buhari has done in Nigeria. We know what this man called Saraki has done for good 4 years to bring him down in his government. What Nigeria needs is to support him. Nigeria is a criminal country.
No. I got to disagree with you. We are not criminal. Nigeria is not a criminal country. But I think to the extent that you are being supportive of the president, you can't now turn around and say Nigeria is a criminal country. But I think I understand you. I want to thank you.
I am not saying that. I am not saying that, please. Okay, I will draw that. All I'm trying to tell you is that we need to support this man.
Indeed.
We need to support him.
Thank you very much. Appreciate your call, Mr. Adewale from the UK. And actually, we've run out of time, but it's been quite an interesting mix in the sense that we have a bunch of regular guys, ordinary, observant, intelligent guys who have called it the way they see it. I'm talking about Mr. Libros Oshoma, Mr. Mukhtar Mohammed, Mr. Majid Jamil, all commentators, all. And I want to thank you. We could have gone on like this all day, of course, because when we start talking about this, our beloved country, we just go on and on. So thank you very much, Libros, Mukhtar, and Majid. And also thank you at home. And I'm sure there are quite a number of you at home there that wanted to get in but couldn't get in. Time is always doing that to us. But thank you all for being with us this morning. Please join us tomorrow for a fresh edition. No, actually, I should have said on Monday. As you know, we don't do weekends. So please join us on Monday for a fresh edition. I'm Yori Folani. Do have a great weekend and do be safe, please.